This is an economy that's in a bit of trouble right now. And deep down, I bet that you feel it too. If you're like me, you do not have any faith in the figureheads and politicians and federal economists who will be making all the decisions for you which affect you. And if you want proof that they're losing their minds, in my opinion, I'm going to say, just look at the debt ceiling. Well, look at it. It doesn't even exist. It's just a theoretical concept. Look at the debt ceiling or the $1 trillion coin or their continually incorrect public statements, or look at the interest rate increases which are designed to slow down the economy, to hurt the economy, to get the inflationary problem under control, which is a problem that they themselves created. Does any of this feel odd to you? Does any of this feel worrisome, stressful? No matter which of these oddities that you're talking about, the $1 trillion coin, the phantom debt ceiling, continuous inaccuracies, no matter which of these you're looking at, they have proven themselves. I'm talking about the politicians, the Federal Reserve. They've proven themselves to be out of touch on many occasions. Out of touch with you and who you are and what would be best for you. And very unfortunately, to make it a little bit worse, you also know, I believe, deep down, that there's very little you can do about any of this. Sure, you can run for Congress and change the laws. You can write an angry letter. You can set up a protest with your friends on social media. Yeah, sure, do all of that. But deep down, you know it's not going to make a dent in the actual, real problem that they are never fixing or addressing. That is the problem of fiscal irresponsibility. Nothing in this video should be considered as personalized trading advice for you. This channel is all about your economic survival, and you do need it much more right now than you ever have before. So the problem is fiscal irresponsibility, but let me tell you what I would mean by fiscal responsibility. It's simple. Spending less money than we bring in from taxes. That would literally solve the debt ceiling problem in an instant. But my mom used to say to me, if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So then let me take a crack at giving you a simple and straightforward and effective solution. Number one, you can revert to true capitalism, not this too big to fail, bail out this company, not that company BS that they do. And like gold, capitalism has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And it's actually been around longer than gold. In fact, I'd go so far as to say it was actually capitalism which gave gold its very first penny of value. Up until today's date, that gold is based on the tides of capitalism. And this is a mandatory thing, hard stop, deal breaker. We have to have a flat tax. And I mean a true flat tax, not the kind they try and sell to you or they talk about. They don't have a clue what a true flat tax is. I go on about this in length in my book, Upthinking. At the same time, we could use the new technologies which are showing up logarithmically at this point. Especially for firefighters, police officers. There's a lot of technologies that can save your life, save victims' lives, help you catch the perp. We have access to all this right now. For example, you have a robotic dog with a taser on it that has an audio alarm if it picks up the sound of a gunshot, there's very specific sounds that a gunshot makes. A robotic dog like this could get to any point in the entire school within 30 seconds, feeding audio and video to the police who've already been alerted and en route, and then the robotic dog can use its taser to disarm or disable suspects. In fact, however you look at it, I believe that most government organizations could be twice as efficient at half the cost. You see, bureaucracy itself has a hidden cost. Everything requires an operating division that's a bit larger, endlessly getting a bit larger, to accomplish much less. Or information has to pass up and down the chain, which takes and adds time to every task you do. Complete inefficiency. And now this clunky handling of the economy is all coming to a boiling point with a new kind of debt ceiling crisis. as envisioned in the Great American Debt Bomb video you have previously learned from. And they've changed all the rules about the debt ceiling. This is not going to be like the other many times you've seen this happen. This debt ceiling debate, debacle, crisis, whatever you want to call it, will be happening under different rules than you're used to. There'll be a lot more downside if anything goes wrong with this. A lot of big events have captured the focus of the world over the last few years. There's a land war in Europe. There's inflation, the whole pandemic, the investment meltdown which followed on after that. But what did I tell you in the first place about this? My original premise is that once the pandemic is not the main thing in our focus, we don't have as much fear about it. That's at the point we're going to stop being afraid and everything would come down together. Because then you're going to start taking notice that, wait a minute, bonds have had a historically difficult year, 2022. Crypto slid significantly and stocks tumbled. What I didn't expect was for precious metals to only now be finally starting to wake up. I also believed that real estate would be well into its downtrend by this point. As it stands, most of the fall has yet to come for real estate, and it's only just begun, in my opinion. Just before we jump into the Economic Crazy Town video, here's a freebie for you. My premise in 2023 is that real estate is coming down significantly, and precious metals prices will be up significantly. So let's talk about this Economic Crazy Town, Crazy Show stuff. We got the debt ceiling on Thursday, the debt limit has to be raised, or we have to not pay money that we've already spent. Money that we spent and now we owe and we have to pay that money. That's what the debt ceiling debate's about. We're talking about whether or not we're going to pay what we owe. This is just an example of the craziness going on. And then they were talking about the $1 trillion coin, and then the fact that they're actually actively trying to hurt the economy. Why hurt an economy? They're raising interest rates so that businesses and people have a harder time paying their bills. Their carrying costs go up, and so the overall economy slows down. They're doing this. They're hurting the economy to bring inflation down because you don't want inflation to be higher. So they're saying, here's what we'll do. We'll hurt the economy until inflation starts coming down, which is a problem. Inflation, it's a problem that they actually created. Do you see the insanity that's going on here? Are you guys okay with this? Is it just me? Like, am I just losing my mind or something? We're in Batfoot crazy town here. And I know it's January 16th, but this article, I pull it apart from its January 4th Washington Post. The Federal Reserve's goal is to push the rate of inflation back down to 2% over the next few years. It will do this by keeping monetary policy tight enough for long enough to restrain economic activity. This is insanity. Why not help the economy? You can help the economy and have no inflation at the same time. It's not even that complicated. But it doesn't matter if you're talking Bernanke, Greenspan, Powell, Yellen. Their public statements are significantly often wrong. And Powell's the one admitting that they're sometimes trying to jawbone the market to say things to control investors, keep them calm. What could keep you calmer than saying, oh, we're not in a recession, the economy is healthy, we're fine? Greenspan was the one who admitted they didn't know what they were doing at one point. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said on Tuesday that she was wrong in the past about the path inflation would take. Again, and she's the one who said, we won't have another financial crisis in our lifetimes. Something to that effect. I don't know the exact wording, but that's the gist of what she's trying to say. She's wrong. So you're being intentionally misled by the Federal Reserve, admittedly. You're being also unintentionally misled. Maybe they don't understand what they're talking about sometimes. Everyone's being told that everything's fine. I fear that it's not. I think that deep down you feel it yourself. That's why it's so important right now that we change the whole focus of this channel to be about your economic survival. It's right now. Now's the time where things are happening. The mud is already hitting the fan.
No one makes videos like these.
And I'd like to show you guys where your support is going. When you join the army, you support the channel. This is an example of one of the ways in which Your generous support is really helping us do what we have to do to better your financial situation. This is actually the video that you're watching right now. It's all about helping you understand the best things to do at the best time so that you land on your feet in a better place than you would have otherwise.